As you may have noticed from the many videos on my channel, I have a vast interest in the recording of sound and the different technologies that were invented to record sound and playback sound. And there's a genre of sound recording machines that weren't used by the average person, and most of the time people have never even heard of these formats, but that's my goal, is to bring those into the forefront. What I have here on the table is some records that were pressed, not cut, but pressed. They have grooves pressed into them. It's a soft vinyl disc, and it was made by the Gray Audograph company. Audograph is spelled A-U-D-O-G-R-A-P-H. The Gray Audograph was a dictation format introduced in 1945. And as I said, they recorded their discs by etching sound into them. But not like the incompatible SoundScriber, which is another company that made discs of the same type. And you may have seen on my channel a disc known as the Edison Diamond disc, which was also a technology using a soft vinyl disc or plastic disc, and had grooves etched into it as well. And strangely enough, it has a hole in it like a 45 RPM record. So it's a different format than the Edison and the SoundScriber. It's different because it has something in common with this, the compact disc. And you say, how could something that recorded sound in 1945 have something in common with the compact disc? Well, it may in fact be that the compact disc has something in common with these records. These records I found on eBay, purchased them all together, and I was really hoping I had something really interesting to share with you guys, but unfortunately it's just moderately interesting, at least in my opinion. It's the content, not the technology. But what it has in common with the compact disc is that these records are recorded in constant angular velocity. They're also recorded from the center to the outside, unlike a record that is recorded at CLV, which is constant linear velocity. And you say, what does that mean? Well, constant angular velocity means that the speed of the disc, or the rotation of the disc, is going to change depending upon where the cutter is located on the record. So if we're in the center of the disc, it's going to rotate quicker, and it's going to slow down, the speed is, as it approaches the outside of the record. So the record isn't recorded at one continuous speed. It's recorded at variable speeds. All right? So you can look that up on the web, constant angular velocity. Read more about what that means. But it helps to improve playing time. So you get more on a disc by using that recording technique. Along with the Dictabelt sound recorder, an Audograph captured sounds recorded at the time of the John F. Kennedy assassination that were reviewed by the United States Select Committee on Assassins. And that information that I just gave you was from Wikipedia, straight from Wikipedia. And speaking of Wikipedia, if I can get my angle right here, this is an Audograph machine that you're seeing right there. And it's a rather clunky looking thing. I wish I had a machine to show you. But today all I get to show you is the discs and the type of sound quality that they have. So what we have here on these discs came from a psychologist, or maybe even a psychiatrist, probably psychologist. They don't talk about medicine that much. But it's a case study on a particular gentleman who came into her clinic who had some psychological problems. On one of the discs, she talks about his mental health and talks about what his state of mind is and what the interview consisted of when she visited with him. And that's on these smaller discs. Now these smaller discs here are about 6.5 inches in diameter, and these guys over here are about 7.5 inches, and not in diameter, but across. In any case, on the smaller discs, it has her speaking on there from her point of view as to how the interview went, and those big discs you see in the back there are actually him just talking. And although an interview was done, you don't really hear the interviewer very loudly, but you hear the interviewee. So I'll play you a little bit of those just so you can get a feel for how it sounds. So first, let's take a look at, or take a listen to, the psychologist and her comments about her patient.
Which approached the surface. At this interview, he seemed to be much more spontaneous, and more emotional tone came forth than in the previous ones. He dwelt almost exclusively on his present feelings and current events in his life. Since the therapist was cautioned not to proceed without supervision, and since supervision has not been obtained, no important interpretations or pressures have been put forward. Due to the patient's age, the likelihood of making marked changes in his personality seems doubtful. Also, the chances of modifying his environment appear slim. However, it does seem likely that some assistance can be given. An appointment was made for the following week, January 25, 1951. The patient did not keep his appointment for January 11, and today his wife phoned to say he had been ill for the past 3 weeks, but would like to come in again on February 1. February 1. Patient's daughter telephoned and said the patient would not be in. No future appointment was made. It is felt that failure to continue at the clinic is partly a result of the patient's general guardedness and fearfulness, together with his having been more open at the last interview, and partly it is the fault of the therapist in not playing a more active
So you can see there, sometimes you get a little bit of a tracking problem there. And notice the date, 1951. So let's hear just a little bit of one of the larger discs, and I have to correct myself. They're actually 8.5 inches wide. So let's throw one of those on real quick and give you a listen to that.
Well, now don't get me wrong, I don't expect that of everybody. But, well, I know that it's been said, here comes Mudge, now we'll have some fun. Well, I've heard that, but then they don't start kidding me about this thing or the other thing. I didn't like it. I'd try to keep back and not show it, but I wonder if there was some mental telepathy there. It shows them that it might go there, and they know it. That's as near as I can. Yeah, oftentimes they do. Oftentimes they'll not say as much, but well, my God, some individual may have something to say, and they don't mean anything about it, but I don't even answer. Because I've got my mind more on myself. I have an answer.
Well, as you can hear, the discs are very, very scratched. I'm sure there's thousands of little tiny micro scratches. These didn't come with any kind of sleeves or anything, so who knows what the journey of these records were before they got to me. But an interesting technology, the Gray Audograph. And as you can see, it's a dual-sided disc, and it has a 1 and a 2 punched into the center of the disc. And I'm running it at 16 RPM, but I'm also placing the tone arm somewhere in the center of the record. Obviously, I can't start it at the beginning because my dual 1019 thinks the record is over at that point, and I don't have a way to turn off the auto end of disc function on this turntable. Otherwise, I could begin it at the beginning, which in fact is the center of the disc. But there's a variable speed in there. As you place it in different spots on the record, it's playing back at a different speed. The 1019 has a dual, well, not a dual, but an adjustable pitch control. It's right here, so I can change the pitch just slightly to make it a little bit more listenable. But the problem is these discs are in such bad shape that it does not make listening very good. Also, you could just tell that they weren't close enough to the microphone. They were too far away from the mic, making for an echoey room, across the room kind of a sound quality. But in any case, maybe one of these days I'll run across an Audograph at a decent price. I've seen them on eBay at some ridiculous prices. But there's also other videos on YouTube that you can look up that demonstrate one of these in action. There's even a video showing a guy playing music on one, which I thought was pretty fascinating. But generally, this is being played at 16 RPM, so you can imagine the variableness there, variance between speeds. So it's spikes somewhere around 16 and almost approaches 33 by the time it's over, but doesn't quite make it to 33 RPM. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this brief demo. I'll leave it at that. Please subscribe to my channel and watch the review of the Dual 1019 on my channel, as well as the Edison Diamond Disc on my channel. And thank you for watching.